Öncelikle sevgili dinleyiciler, KOSDER Akademi'ye hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bugün çok farklı ama gittikçe daha çok adını duyacağımız bir konu hakkında alternatif bir deniz yakıtı olan metanolün yükselişinden bahsedeceğiz. Bugünkü sunumu ile bizlerle birlikte olan konuşmacımız Sea Commerce Consulting Yönetim Kurulu Başkanı Sayın Kaptan Saleem Alavi olacaktır. Türkçe bir giriş yapmak gerekirse, bilindiği gibi deniz taşımacılığında çevre ile ilgili yeni regülasyonlar gemilerden atmosfere salınan sera gazı emisyonlarının düşürülmesi ve enerji verimliliğinin artırılmasına yönelik olmaktadır. Bunların içinde bir taraftan Eka bölgesi gibi bazı bölgelerde düşük sülfürlü ve temiz yakıt kullanılması, bu yolla da SOx ve NOx salınımlarının azaltılması hedeflenirken, diğer taraftan yakıt enerji verimliliği kuralları, Ship Energy Efficiency Management Plan ve Energy Efficiency Design Index parametreleri uygulamaya konulmuştur. Tüm bunların nedeni ise temiz bir hava yaratmak, atmosfere salınan sera gazı emisyonlarını düşürmeyi istemeleridir. Fakat her ne kadar bu önlemler alınmaya çalışılsa da yine de yeterli olmamaktadır. Bu nedenle metanol bu amaca hizmet eden cazip ve ekonomik bir alternatif yakıt olarak son zamanlarda gösterilmektedir. Metanolün temiz bir yakıt olması atmosfere salınan egzoz gazı içinde zararlı unsurların, yani sera gazı emisyonlarının olmaması ya da çok az olması bakımından önem taşımaktadır. Böylece gemilerde metanolün kullanımı hava kirliliği yaratılmamasına ve bu yolla insan sağlığına hizmet etmekte olup geleceğin yakıtı olarak gösterilmektedir. Tüm bu konular ile ilgili daha detaylı açıklamalar için konunun uzmanı olan Kaptan Saleem Alavi bizlere sunumunu yapacaktır. Kaptan Saleem Alavi, I know you have come from a long way to Turkey from United States. First of all, I would like to welcome you.
Murat, and like to thank the KOSDER. I like the president of KOSDER. She invited me as this opportunity. And,
thank you very much. Thank you for.
And
wait.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for being here. First of all, before our presentation, I wanted to make a short statement in Turkish and give a preliminary briefing on the subject.
Sure.
Firstly, we would like to get to know you a little bit. Tell us about yourself, and then we look forward to hearing your presentation. If there are questions from our audience after your presentation is over, we will forward them to you as well. You can start to your presentation. But first of all, as I said, we would like to get to know you a little bit. Yes, go ahead, please. Thank you.
My name is Saleem Alavi, and I'm from the maritime industry. I've been in the industry for the last 51 years, and including my experience on the oil and gas side on an LNG terminal. And I have traversed almost all segments of the maritime industry, starting from being a seafarer, then to working for a ship management company out of Hong Kong, then to commercial side in Geneva, Switzerland, and agency side in California, and in a ship finance bank as senior vice president. Plus, I was advisor to the UAE government, maritime advisor, and I used to participate in IMO and ILO, and I, on behalf of the UAE government as a delegate, then I worked on an LNG project. I hold MSc in Maritime Economics and Logistics from Erasmus University, Rotterdam, plus a diploma in maritime law from London Metropolitan, apart from others. I'm a member of Society of Petroleum Engineers in USA, Society of Naval Arts and Marine Engineers in Imarest in UK, plus in Maritime Investigators in the US, and with the MAC, with the Arbitration Institutes, organizations, various places. Sea Commerce was established in 1992 in Houston. They used to do basically on competitive side initially. Then we were operating ships on behalf of a ship operator. We used to own 2 ships and operate 25 ships at any given time on the parcel and project service from Canada to Far East and back. And then till because of the market conditions, we have to walk away. And then I moved down to Rotterdam to take up a job at the bank. Because of my involvement in the industry, I understand the ship owners' complexity of the maritime business and the interactions of the ship owners with the first-hand experience, because I have traversed the whole segments. We offer technical support services, especially in China, with our strategic partner over there, and all sorts of aspects which are listed over here, plus in India, Middle East, and Americas. Now, this is the executive summary of my presentation. Please do not believe in anything simply because you hear from somebody. Don't believe anything because you see it written somewhere. But after observation and analysis, when you are convinced anything agree with reason and is conducive, then only you should follow that. Basically, what I'm trying to say over here is that everybody has got an opinion and everybody wants to try to sell you something. I'm not selling anything because I'm not employed by methanol industry. But I'm telling you from my personal experience as a ship owner that about the benefits of methanol as a fuel. There are two types of regulations that deals once with the greenhouse gas, which is right now on the decarbonization side. And the other one was the pollutants, which was finally the new regulations went into effect in 2020 for SOx, NOx, and PM. Now the focus is on decarbonization on carbon dioxide and methane, nitrous oxide, and hydrofluoride. So the 6 main GHG gases. The international shipping GHG footprint is 2.7% of the total global CO2 footprint. But it is one of the most heavily regulated industry. And the regulations which comes up to be applied to the ship owners in my personal opinion, the ship owners are not given a proper time frame to make the adjustments, because it's not a cosmetic change they have to do on the ship, but they have to do a major modifications to the engines and all that. And sometimes, because the ships have got a earning life cycle, and if they're close to the finishing off their earning life, the banks will not be able to help them to finance these changes, which may cost them tons of money. So now the reductions for IMO goals, which are focused now on GHG. IMO wants to reduce the carbon intensity in comparison to 2008 to 40% by 2030, and by 50% reduction by 2050. So all the regulations and all the decarbonization efforts are based towards that. The most important things for the future marine fuels, I have listed these. To me, there are 4 most important things. One is the life cycle analysis. What's the carbon footprint on the life cycle basis, not from the tank to propeller, but from well to propeller basis, because that's how the carbon intensity will be measured going forward, and an IMO is considering that. Then the technological obsolescence of the technology, whether the technology is a midterm technology or short-term technology, or it's a long-term or a future-proof technology. The things which is also extremely important for the ship owner is the investment cost, and followed by availability, ease, and handling and storage. I will be dealing with these 4 aspects in my presentation. Why methanol? Environmentally, it's low emission, safe, environmentally friendly, and biodegradable rapidly in water. Availability, there are 122 ports where methanol is available, and long history of safe handling, because the methanol trade is close to about 50 million tons a year, and it's handled on the ships for time immemorial now. And it's the investment cost is pretty competitive when you compare to the competing fuels like LNG or ammonia or hydrogen. The methanol is a very competitive, and the proven technology, it's a proven technology that exists in the use of methanol. Methanol as a marine fuel is ultra clean burning, low carbon pathways to meet decarbonization goals. I mentioned biodegradable in the previous sheet, long history of safe handling available, and the economical fuel, vessel, and infrastructure costs. About methanol, the total 98 million tons is the production, then plus this is the production from the natural gas we're using as a feedstock. There is 30 million tons which is produced through carbon to methanol using coal as a feedstock, and that's basically how all that 30 million tons is done in China. Methanol has been in use in the transportation industry since 1940s, when on these fighter planes, when they had the full load on, and they needed the extra boost because the engine didn't have the power at the time, they used to use methanol to get that boost. So then since 1966, after the accident in Indianapolis, car racing, the methanol became the fuel for the car racing circuits in America from 1966 to 2007, and 2008 when the ethanol lobby kicked in and the ethanol got selected by these car racing package. The verified feedstock, including biomass, recycled CO2 for future compliance for the green. There are, for the fuels which are available, for the fossil fuel, the fossil fuels are the cuts of the crude barrel, which is on the left-hand side. And from there, you produce the fuel oil and diesel oil or gas oil. And from natural gas, you produce LNG and natural gas, methanol, LNG, ammonia, and hydrogen. Principal pathways for the methanol productions. There are 4 ways to produce methanol. One is the coal, which is called brown methanol. Then there's from natural gas, which is called gray methanol. And then from renewable electricity, what is called e-fuels, which is called blue methanol, and the biomass. So the feedstock for this are different feedstocks are used for all this. Like for example, for the renewable methanol or the e-fuel, you use wind power or solar power to produce in order to achieve the zero carbon footprint. The gray, blue, green methanol cost production, the MEH, the cost, the gray, current fossil fuel methanol cost is given in the gray in the bottom, and in comparison to that, the green and blue and methanol production costs are given for comparison purposes. Just 1 second, please. I need to move this because it's blocking my view. Yeah. So these are the projected costs for methanol going forward, green methanol. So going forward from 2015 to 2018, the green hydrogen cost was $4,000 to $8,000. Cost of CO2 was $50 to $100. Cost of methanol was $780 to $1,610 with the carbon credit, and with the carbon credit of $100, it was $700 to $1,520. I will show you the current prices on the basis of the Rotterdam. This is the main factor for decarbonization. If you look onto the left side, the bar, which is GHG emission as per gram CO2 equivalent of per MJ fuel consumption. The MDO is the threshold, and then LNG without the methane slip is this is what you see always when the people talk of LNG. They show you the LNG with 0% methanol slip is the second bar, And LNG with methane slip is the third bar. And you can see that LNG with methane slip is much higher carbon footprint than the MDO or methanol combined, taking individually. The methanol produced from wood has got near zero CO2 footprint. Methanol from waste wood has also got a near zero footprint. And then the last two are the ethanol productions, which has got a higher footprint when it compares to the biomethanol and biomethanol. The methanol trade this is a graph reflects the methanol trade. So it's basically globally, as I said, 122 ports have got methanol facilities available and globally where methanol is available, and that can be easily used to supply to the ships. What the production side, another thing which is being mentioned all the time about the capacity, this is the development of the capacity. It's not much of an interest right now, but it will be where the capacities are being added. But if the methanol as a marine fuel demand picks up, so it's not difficult to establish new facilities, because I've talked to the various major producers and they are willing to do it. It takes 2 years to get the production going. Let's say 10 million tons or 20 million tons, whatever that is required for the future needs. Commercial, now I come to this one reflects the commercial and announced renewable and biomethanol projects. Renewable was using wind energy, or biomethanol using the biogas or the forestry waste or the wood waste, as I mentioned. These are the announced projects for that. This is the availability and the storage in some of the major ports. The current fossil fuel is available, which is available globally, but there are only 20 ports which controls more than 90% of the fuel. And so the same is applicable in the case of methanol. The same ports are available, and all the same ports methanol is available. Low cost infrastructure, capital costs, and the payback time on the investment on the methanol, new or retrofit, according to EMSA, is 2 to 3 years payback. Because the simplicity of the fuel is the fuel characteristics are the same as the fossil fuel. This is a comparison slide, methanol bunkering infrastructure. You use an existing barge, which is supplying fossil fuel like diesel oil and HFO, and make minor modifications like the infrared cameras and ventilation systems, very minor. And that the same barge can carry methanol and deliver methanol. They don't need to construct brand new barges like for LNG. On the left-hand side, I've given the costs. So storage tank on the shore side, 5,000 cubic meter tank. For methanol is $750,000. For LNG is $15 million. For 20,000 cubic meter is 2.5, and for LNG is 50 million. Similarly, the fueling trucks and all that, and you can see the cost-wise, methanol is a much cheaper option than any other alternative fuels, because all the remaining three are cryogenic fuels, and methanol is at ambient temperature, same like the fuel oil. This was recently, the ship in the background is a Methanex ship, waterfront ship. And it was taking the bunkers were delivered to it on an existing bunker transport barge. There's no modification done to the barge, and it was allowed by the Port of Rotterdam to deliver bunkers to this ship. I think it was in May of 2021. These are the prices. Comparison, Rotterdam methanol delivered price was $26.16 per million MMBTU. And if you see ammonia, it was $46. And similarly, Rotterdam, methanol delivered cost, CO2 cost, weekly assessment was $31. That basically means including the CO2 assessment. The methanol is historically 10% lower than the MGO cost on energy equivalent basis. I repeat, on the energy equivalent basis, the graph is on the left-hand side. Methanol is 10% lower cost than MGO. When this gives you can compare, I mean, again, I will repeat myself, it's 2 to 3 year payback because the rest of the items what are listed here are further covered in my presentation. So I will not indulge on that now. This slide, I put the slide. The slide is from MAN. And for the LC, if you calculate the LC on the LCV basis, very low sulfur fuel oil, its calorific value is 42,700 kJ per kg. Methanol is 19,900 kJ per kg. If you do the mathematics, these are 2-year-old prices, which are not applicable today because the prices have gone up, but the delta will be the same, is the same currently. The saving in fuel cost for using methanol in comparison to VLSFO is 11%. Methanol is better, 11%. Now I talk about the investment costs. On a 2-stroke 50-bore engines, let's say for a MR2, new build, approximately the delta between a fossil fuel ship and a methanol ship is $3.5 to $4.0 million. Retrofit is $8 to $9 million, but needs a parent engine test. If the parent engine test does not exist, this price will be higher. It depends on the OEM, how much they want to charge. What is the additional things on a methanol dual fuel engine? Approximately is LFSS, day service tank with accessories, pump room, housing aided ventilation, fuel valve train, double wall piping, ventilation, gas taking system, for additional firefighter systems, and tier 3 technology. The equipment is not required. So basically, if methanol, when you mix with water, can comply with the tier 3 requirements, and that do away with the SCR and exhaust EGC systems, which gives a benefit of close to about $2 million savings on the new build cost. Now, the most great advantage of methanol is that the methanol molecule is whichever way you produce, whether it's brown, gray, blue, green, it has got the same energy and chemical characteristics no matter how it is produced. So what we are trying to say over here is that the gray methanol today have a saving of 10 to 15% today. By mixing it with the blue methanol, the savings will be higher. And similarly, mixing it with the green methanol, the savings will be up to 90%. So it's if the threshold is 60% reduction on the CO2, you adjust the mixture accordingly without doing any modifications to the engine, and you will be able to achieve those savings. More and more companies are getting interested. Just today, Costco has come out with the design for VLCC, methanol-powered VLCC. It was announced today. And currently, there are about 51 ships on order. And 51 ships on order because the Maersk has got 9, plus 15 was ordered by Express Container about a month ago, and the end of the month. So there are about 35 vessels, 50 vessels, which will be methanol-powered vessels in 2023. And there are the companies which are interested in ordering methanol-powered vessels. So there is a tremendous interest now in methanol-powered vessels. Even the companies which has got LNG carriers, LNG-powered they are also looking at methanol as a after, like for example, Hapag-Lloyd, when they converted one of their ships, which was an LNG, which had the class rating of LNG ready at the time of construction in 2014, they went in for modification conversion to LNG. It cost them 2 years in the yard and $35 million to do the conversion. Yeah, this was announced just today. COSCO and DSIC float methanol fuel VLCC design. So the COSCO, China has got a methanol policy that they want most of the transportation to be using methanol by 2050. And they are working towards it. And I think this is a major shift or major impact this COSCO will have on the methanol powered ships order book. I'm going to talk about this Murray Joan and Murray Boyle. These are the two first of the two methanol powered ships, which were taken over by built by Mar Invest. And there are some performance slides I have put over here for the attention of the ship owners over here, Turkish ship owners. Efficiency methanol having a much higher octane values allows that the boost compression and timing can be increased. This allows more efficiency with a lower SPOC. So it's 2% more efficient per kilowatt hour than if you were using an MGO or LSFO. On the road, this company, Mar Invest, has got 40,000 hours of experience of operating these vessels. And I will read this, what the Frederick Stubner, the Director Technical and New Build, has to say. Our ships continue to operate on methanol on daily basis, so it's full-time methanol operation. Although the engine is called dual fuel, basically it runs into 3 fuel options, HFO, LSGO, and MEOH. This gives flexibility in many scenarios that benefit stakeholders. That basically means that if there is gas oil prices are cheaper than methanol, then you can change over, you can use gas oil instead of methanol. If the methanol prices are cheaper than gas oil, you take advantage of the pricing on that. With an average 3.5 to 5% of primary fuel burnt at sea on a daily basis, these engines are the best in terms of emission control. Engines, since burning MEOH, the cylinder chambers are much cleaner after 4 years of experience. The early days teething problems encountered were minor and all have been solved without causing any idle time, leading to off-hire. The crew have gained a lot of knowledge and skills and experience with LGI engines that run with vessels in MEOH like a standard engine. And this I'm quoting Frederick Stubner, the Director of Technical and New Build Projects. So I continue. This is the photograph, what the engine room looks like after 4 years. So you can, according to Frederick, it says that you can eat from the platform or the engine room. The engine runs on the 3 different fuels, seamless switching, water mixing, Tier 3 compliant without SCR, catalytic converter, no soot, improved efficiency, bunkering as you bunker the normal fuel, MGO, no cryogenic infrastructure, methanol at ambient temperature as a liquid, stable and clean. So what are on the other pollutant side? The methanol reduces the SOx by 99%, the NOx by 80%, and particulate matter by 95%. Now, what are the benefits of methanol? There are various questions which have been asked constantly of me whenever I present or when I'm holding my seminars. And all these questions I cannot answer, don't have time to answer them, deal with them individually over here, but I will deal with some of them going forward. One of the things which you constantly hear, that methanol is extremely corrosive and it causes corrosion to the engine room. Now, this quotation I have over here is from MAN. They say corrosion is not an issue, even though methanol is corrosive. No changes to the corrosive level in the combustion chamber are expected when using it as a fuel in standard engines, nothing special. Already today, we have quite a corrosive environment in the combustion chamber, and the combustion chamber is designed to cope with us. Methanol will burn with a temperature of up to 1300 degrees Celsius, and consequently, all methanol molecules will be burned. Formaldehyde, which is the reason for corrosion, is generated at a temperature of 400 to 600 degrees Celsius. And since our engines do not have any fuel slip, no formaldehyde is generated in the exhaust gas system. So that the corrosiveness, which is talked about by the competing fuel providers, is not an issue at all, according to MAN. If you look again, the hazard part of it, if you look at the icons, the pictograms on the top, comparing methanol, diesel, and gasoline, methanol is lesser hazardous than gasoline and diesel, as the slide reflects. It is not more dangerous than other fuels, gasoline and diesel or LSFO. Methanol is fully miscible in water. It is soluble in water. So if there is an oil spill, the 65 grams, so here we have got LC, the lethal concentration, is the threshold when the half the population, water and the marine life, will die within a specified duration, this test duration. So if it will require 15,400 mg per liter of spill of methanol to achieve the level of LC50. And whereas the diesel, gasoline was only 8.2, diesel is 65 mg, methane, which is LNG, is 50 mg per liter. And then they will achieve the factor of lethal concentration of 50, because of which the marine life will die. Now, the next slide here shows that when the accident with Erika happened, the tourist industry suffered with $400 to $500 million, claim for damages $120 million, 60,000 birds were killed, fishing industry $98 million, cleaning in hundreds, and on and on and on. Methanol tested with 10,000 tons on the simulation. So release of 10,000 tons of methanol at open sea, the concentration of 0.36% after 1 hour. So it basically is soluble in water, so it dissolves, and there is no threat to the marine life as such. Now, similarly, simulation second release of 10,000 liters per hour from a coastal pier. The concentration was 0.36% after 1 hour and 0.13% after 3 hours. So what I'm trying to say over here is there is zero spill possibility with the use of methanol as a fuel. So this will have an impact on your blue card also for oil spills and all that. And shipowners should discuss that with the insurance companies. This is another thing, that methanol, because the storage factor is twice that of the fuel oil, 2.16 times. So it requires more tank space to store. And that will restrict the sailing distances. But no, they would not restrict the sailing distances, because when we do a voyage planning, we don't take the full bunkers, we maximize the cargo intake, and then we bunker the vessel on the way somewhere in order to maximize the cargo intake of it. So the same philosophy can apply on the methanol. And secondly, methanol because it does not have a risk of pollution. It can be, I mean, like for example, right now, Methanex is using the slop tanks as a storage tanks also if they are going on a longer duration voyage. And it is approved, and there are no issues with the Coast Guard or anything. This is a methanol dual fuel design, which has been already there for MR. And you can see that there is a cofferdam and methanol storage tank. It's between the accommodation and the methanol storage tank. And basically, this is already there, available. Today, you saw the VLCC design has also come out. Now, this slide, I will compare the four fuel: the ammonia, methanol, methane, and hydrogen. The well-to-tank and tank-to-wake emissions. Till now, IMO had only been working with the tank-to-wake emission, which is not reflecting the full GHG footprint. For example, the LNG from natural gas, the green one is well-to-tank, and tank-to-wake is the blue one. So even in here, well-to-tank emissions, or the methanol has got a lesser footprint than LNG. Yes, hydrogen and ammonia. Ammonia has got a higher GHG footprint because of the generation of nitrous oxide. But overall, methanol is also competitive on that one also. Now, technology readiness, TRL. Diesel is, of course, 9, liquefied gas is 8, methanol is 8, but hydrogen, liquefied hydrogen, ammonia is 3 to 4. 3 to 4 still has to go a long way. The first prototype will be ready. The engine will be ready for ammonia, set to be in 2024 and 25. It will be on the test bench. So by the time 2030, when you have to reduce the ammonia, the GHG footprint under the IMO regulations, I think it will require another 10 years or 15 years before the technology is going to be mature enough. This is a very important slide. Once again, yes, LNG has got a higher calorific value when it comes to per ton basis. But on the ships, you use the volumetric energy on the basis of the volumetric. So this slide reflects the energy per volume of tank system. Because if you have got 10,000 cubic meter tank for LNG, the space is wasted over there because it has to be double skin. Then it has to have a protection coating inside, and the calorific value, volumetric density of the LNG reduces from 22 to 16, which is similar or sometimes less than 16, which is less than methanol, which is 15.9 on the volumetric basis. So the diesel is the perfect fuel because on the volumetric basis is the MJ per liter, it's got the volumetric density of 35, 36. Methanol is next. And then all three fuels, LNG, liquid ammonia, liquid hydrogen, they are all cryogenic fuels, which basically means they're carried at below 0 degree temperature, and they require special handling plus a special equipment and everything. If the infrastructure cost, the methanol retrofit of the pump dispenser, this we are talking about, this slide I've taken from a Chinese study, that if $60 billion is the methanol cost, the cost for, for the methanol conversion infrastructure costs $10 to $15 billion, then the hydrogen will be $3 trillion and battery will be $1 trillion basically to generate electricity and transmit that electricity. There are here I'm doing a comparison on LNG. There are various things which people do not know about LNG. And some of them, I cannot talk on all of them right now, but I will talk on some of the important things which have got an impact on pricing, like custody transfer and other methane number and differences. This is the bunkering structure. Again, I have already given the bunkering costs before also, it's the same. But the thing to notice over here is that the delta of delivery cost of LNG because is close to about $4 per MMBTU on the energy content basis. Similarly, look at the custody transfer diagram. This custody transfer diagram on the right-hand side is for the LNG, which will take you almost about 4 hours or 3 hours to calculate how much custody has been, how much transfer has been made, because you do it on the energy basis. Whereas the diagram on the left is the simple fossil fuel diagram, which people are experienced and people know about and experience about. There are, because the LNG, when it is pumped out, it has got gas in it, like the cappuccino effect on the fossil fuels. There are losses that occur from there, and those losses are for, let's say, 2010, were 450 million euros for the LNG transfer, or 200 tons of LNG, metric ton, million tons of LNG. This is another important slide. The fuel qualities of LNG varies. And you do not mix, normally you do not mix the two different qualities of LNG because of stratification and the fear of rollover. I have highlighted that the LNG coming out of Arzew, Algeria, and Skikda, Algeria. The C1 is 87.4, and in air it is 91.5. The methane number is 72. This is important because this will cause the derating of the engine if you are out of specs. Then the methane value for Arzew is 72.3, and for Skikda is 77.3. So this is another issue which needs to be monitored and taken into consideration when you're bunkering with LNG, which is not there in methanol because the specifications are the same. This is the checklist. The checklist for the fossil fuel is 3 pages. LNG bunker checklist, ship to ship, is 28 pages. So this is all time. What I'm saying to say that it will take you 16 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours just to do the go through the checklist both before and after the bunkering. Whereas what you do is when the checklist for the fossil fuel, it hardly takes you more than an hour to go through the checklist and start bunkering and finishing bunkering. Similarly, it is said that LNG has got, excuse me. LNG has got particulate matter. It's incorrect. The slide shows that the LNG has got the higher particulate matter footprint than the diesel oil. And as per the finding of Transport and Environment out of Belgium. Maersk has ordered, this is the headlines, and there are 2 things. Now I'm talking about the commercial side of it. This Maersk has ordered 16,000 TEU vessels, and World Bank has said that avoid LNG because it is a midterm solution. This slide is from the World Bank. It clearly says it's short-term solution and limited role for LNG. It doesn't see a long-term role. So if you're going to do an LNG conversion today, by 2030, you will have to go back to the drawing board and do another conversion of some sort because of the limited role of LNG. And what the IMO think the long-term solutions are the biofuels, which basically means the alcohol fuels, hydrogen, ammonia, and carbon-based synthetic fuels, which is carbon-based synthetic fuels. Similarly, this is another slide from World Bank, and they're giving what zero fuels will be on the going into the future. When comparing the costs, the MGO scrubber is median compared to the MGO. MGO is low, LNG is high, the methanol is medium. Similarly, the other slides, other costs also are listed over here that then compare to LNG and gas oil. But this is my conclusion slide. It says methanol is environmentally friendly, low emission, available globally in over 100 ports. Cost of bunkering infrastructure is most favorable than the cryogenic fuels. Due to fluid state, liquid atmospheric pressure, it is easy to handle. Broad range of sustainable feedstock. Green methanol or biomethanol has near zero GHG footprint. The technology available today for shipborne use is most competitive, cost competitive. And ship owners are interested in looking to use methanol as an alternative. Thank you very much. Now, before I go, I would like to mention here that we will be very happy to provide you with the budgets if you want to look at the conversion to methanol. Maybe we will be very happy to try to get you some kind of a pilot project where some kind of contribution can be made through some agency. Thank you. I'm ready for the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Captain Saleem. Now we can start question and answer section. There are lots of questions actually, and I'm going to start with Mustafa Muhtaroğlu. Mustafa Muhtaroğlu has two questions. Just to introduce myself, I'm IBA board member, as member and Bunker Committee chairman for Turkish Chamber of Shipping and owner of physical supply in Turkey. Number one, total bunker fuels used by world fleet per year is about 250 million tons. So availability of methanol for far small. Leading players believe in the future will be carbon capture and alternative fuels will be very limited. What do you think about that?
I will agree and disagree at the same time. Nobody is saying that you will have a demand for 250 million tons of fuel overnight. It'll be a process. So when the demand goes up, the supply also goes up because the availability of natural gas and availability of the feedstock is plentiful. Yes, I agree that the carbon capture will be the way, but at the end of the day, Murat, it all boils down to cost economics from the ship owner's point of view. Which one is most cost-effective way of dealing with the issue? And that's what will be the decisions will be. But methanol is a future-proof fuel because even if you use the, what do you call this, methanol-powered batteries, methanol has got one atom more of hydrogen than hydrogen itself. Hydrogen has only got 2 moles, and methanol has got 3, MeOH3 molecules of hydrogen. So it is being used in a battery form on both the ships. So methanol is the fuel, whether it will be in the battery form or it will be in the liquid form.
Yes, thank you very much. There's another questions. Let me tell in Turkish first. Bir yakıt olarak metanolün biyolojik olarak parçalanabilirliği hakkında biraz daha detay isteyen bir dinleyicimiz var. Can you elaborate a bit more biodegradability for methanol as a fuel?
Biodegradability.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, methanol is 100% miscible in water. Miscible in English basically means that it is soluble in water. So it is totally biodegradable as such. And I showed this slide, one of the slides where, let's say, the lethal concentration where the marine life is affected, the coast will never be affected by methanol spill. there will be no cleanup required. But if the marine life, it's the 15,400 mg per liter of methanol to be equivalent to lethal concentration where the marine life will be affected.
Okay,
Just,
thank you. Thank you. There's another questions. Makineci bir arkadaşımız bu soruyu sormuş. Motor tüm yük aralıklarında tamamen metanolde çalışabilir mi diye bir soru var. Can the engine operate fully in methanol on the entire load range?
Yes, I showed you the statement from Frederick Stubner, which clearly stated that they are operating the ships on methanol all the time. So that's not an issue at all.
Okay, thank you. There's another questions. You already actually mentioned about that, but let me tell you once again. Metanol kullanımının bildiğimiz klasik yakıtlara kıyasla günlük işletme maliyetlerine etkisini sormuşlar. What is the impact on daily operating cost of the vessel by use of methanol when compared to conventional fuels?
5% more.
5% more.
5% more because of the training requirements at the moment. Because of the training requirements under the IGF, under the STCW code, and for the parts, because you have got two separate systems on board for using a few standalone systems, one for methanol, one for the fuel oil. I'm talking on the dual fuel. Yes, 5% more.
Okay, 5%. Thank you. Another questions. Yeni inşa edilen gemilerde metanol içinde su emisyonunun kullanılmasının yine işletme maliyetlerine etkisini sormuşlar. What is the cost benefit for the use of water in the methanol emulsion for new built vessel and on the operating cost of the vessel?
The use of water.
Yes, use of water.
Yeah, I think the SPOC consumption, it will have an impact of 3 grams. I think it is. It will be 3 grams, 3G more than the normal consumption by mixing the water. But this is only when you use water only when you are in the tier 3 areas. So when the tier 3 areas, when you compare it with the scrubber, if you say the ship is in the tier 3 for 20 days in a year, the daily, the cost for the chemicals is $1,500 to $1,900 per day. That equates to $30,000 to $38,000 per year basis. So if you take that into consideration and the consideration into methanol using water under the tier 3 compliance, for the tier 3 compliance, it's very, very nominal. Yes, there will be an impact, but I don't recall the exact, but it will be either 3 or 4 grams.
Thank you. Yeni bir soru geldi. Bu soruyu aslında cevapladık. O yüzden o kısmını söylemeyeceğim ama o sorunun içinde şu kısma da değinebiliriz. Metanol su oranı nedir diye bir soru var. What is the methanol water ratio?
30%.
30%. Okay.
Yeah.
Another questions. Yine yeni bir soru. Metanol neden günümüzde daha yaygın bir şekilde kullanılmıyor diye bir soru var. Why methanol is not adopted as a fuel more widely already?
Well, this is a question I have been asking, and that's why I do these seminars, which I do. Because to me, as a ship owner, once upon a time I was, and as a seafarer, it's the easiest fuel to handle. I think it's more of the politics than anything else. Because, like, for example, IMO had a report about methanol, about the technology maturance of the technology in 2013, which they put it aside and they did not incorporate methanol into the IGF code. They did it only in 2021 November. So why they waited for it? If they would have done it in 2013, like they did on LNG, so then the methanol would have also been in competition. Yes, methanol, there was a Stena Germanica, which was converted to methanol powered in 2015, because there was some gaps in the IGF, which were plus took the risk assessment on that and gave the clearance, and it was, and so did the Methanex ships, 19 of them, which were built accordingly. So why methanol was not adopted, I cannot answer that clearly, but I think the methanol lobby was weaker than the LNG lobby, so, or the scrubber lobby.
Okay, thank you. Gökhan Bey'den bir soru var, Gökhan Özcan'dan. Direkt İngilizce sormuş. Considering the carbon dioxide emission when using methanol as marine fuel and the new regulations restriction the carbon dioxide emission gradually, and may you guide until what time can it be used?
With the methanol can be used all the way beyond 2050. Because as I said, I showed you the gray, green, blue methanol slide. Because the methanol, whichever way of production, whichever color it has given, the molecule has got the same characteristics and the thermal value. So it is easy, it will be whatever the threshold will be, you can have a mixture and it will comply with that.
Okay, thank you. Is there another questions? Let me check. I think that's all. Today we learned very important information about the fuel of the future methanol. Thank you very much for this beautiful presentation, Captain Saleem. See you next time with the new informations. If you want to say, if you want to talk in another issues, you can go ahead, please, and then it's gonna finish the presentation.
Yeah, Murat, just before I leave, before I go off, I'll say I will be bringing a full panel of experienced people who will be answer each and every questions of the ship owners or the bunker suppliers for everyone. And that is sometime in May or June. And I will let the Ship Owners Association know about that also. That will include the ship owner who has got 100,000 hours of operating experience. That will include probably from Maersk or Express Containers who have ordered the vessel. That why did they order the vessels methanol powered? To answer the question for the ship owners. So I will let you guys know, and so you will be more than welcome, because I do these seminars for free. There is no cost to any to the people who attend those seminars.
Okay. Thank you very much once again, Captain Saleem. Tüm dinleyicilerimize teşekkür ederiz KOSDER Akademi adına. Bu sunumların yine YouTube kanalında yayınlanacağını tekrar hatırlatmak isteriz. Herkese iyi günler dileriz. Have a good one, Captain Saleem. Thank you.
Thank you, Murat. Thank you, and please do let me know if somebody wants any budget on their ships or conversion and all that. My email is there, and they can ask, and I will be more than happy to guide.
Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a great day, Murat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.